Hello and welcome to yoga for wrists and elbows. We're going to be taking care of these guys and these elbows during this practice. So let's begin with some centering. We'll connect palm to palm at our hearts, gently close our eyes. On an inhale, we'll lift the crown of the head a little higher. And on an exhale, we'll melt our shoulders down away from the ears. We'll begin by simply observing our breath and our bodies. Continuing to relax the shoulders with each exhale, to lengthen the spine on our inhales. We'll send our awareness to observing the wrists, noticing how they feel right now in this neutral moment, and then observing the elbows. We can set an intention for ourselves in our practice today. One intention might be to be very attentive that we're not in pain during practice. Yoga should never be painful, that we want to make sure we're balancing effort and ease. Another possible intention for our practice is to be on the lookout for what feels the best in our bodies. What's one thing from this practice that we could incorporate into our regular quilting practice, our regular life? So that when we're waiting for food to warm up, when we're waiting in line, when we're watching TV, what's one thing that we could effortlessly incorporate into our routine to cultivate a new habit around? So we'll take a moment with either of those intentions, just picturing it in our mind's eye. And now we'll move with our breath, keeping palms together, keeping eyes gently closed. We'll inhale, sending the arms overhead, lengthening the elbows. And we'll exhale, stretching the fingers wide, sending our hands back behind us, exhaling on our way down. Together we'll move with our breath, inhaling, lengthening and straightening the arms, exhaling around and down. With our next exhale, we'll rest our hands down heavy at our sides. Can gently blink our eyes open. And with arms heavy at our sides, we'll enjoy that lengthening and straightening of the elbows. So often when we're quilting, our elbows are bent. This is a beautiful moment to feel the length of the arm. As we begin to work into our wrist and our forearm, we'll send our hands so that the palms are facing behind us. So that front part of the palm is going to be facing back. We want to now send our hands with the arms straight so that our hands are in alignment with our tailbone. That means moving the arms ever so slightly back. And now moving with our breath, we're going to flex the hands. We'll inhale, flexing the fingers forward. And we'll exhale, flexing the hands back. So I'll stand up so that we can see that a little better. You can stay seated. Inhale forward. Exhale back, breathing into that stretch of the forearm. We'll exhale and rest our hands heavy at our sides, allowing the palms to face any direction that they naturally fall to. And now we'll very softly open and close the hands, opening to 80% and closing to 80%. Our arms are heavy at our sides here, and the hand is very softly opening and closing. Remembering that idea that motion is lotion for our hands, and we're trying to relax those tendons. When I'm quilting, I know I often have a tight grip with my hand on my quilt, especially in my left non-dominant hand. And it's important to counteract that tight grip with this soft, gentle grip. And now we'll rest, perhaps resting into the back of the chair, resting arms heavy, eyes gently closed, pausing to feel the effects. Sitting tall once more, we'll extend the arms forward, palms facing forward, and we'll create an internal rotation for the hands. So exhale, sending my hands in and down, and inhale up and around. And now the other direction, continuing to exhale on my way down and inhale on my way up. And I'll rest down, resting hands on my legs or at my sides, pausing to feel the effects in the wrist. So feeling those effects in the arms, in the shoulders, in the core. I'll extend the arms forward, this time palms facing up, and moving with my breath. I'll inhale to this long version. I'll exhale, lifting and closing my elbows, sending the palms to shoulders. Inhale, opening. Exhale to close. And I'll rest my arms heavy at my sides or on my legs, pausing to feel the effects. I'll outstretch my arms once more, this time palms facing the earth. I'll inhale to this wide, long space, and exhale as I close that gap, sending the back of my hand to my shoulders. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Last one, resting the arms down. Observing any warmth or tingling, that activation in the elbows and the arms. I'll extend my arms wide and open now, palms facing forward, and then I'll soften my hands as though I were holding onto 2 light bulbs. Now I'm going to alternate between tightening those light bulbs, making sure I'm rotating shoulders, elbows, and wrists, and then loosening, rotating shoulders, elbows, and wrists. I can move at any speed, so if it feels good to match with my breath, I can. I can also move quite a bit faster or slower than that, following my body's inner intuition, making sure that I'm listening to that intention that I set to find the balance between effort and ease, and also noticing what feels really good in this practice. And we'll rest down, feeling that in the shoulders and the elbows throughout the whole arm. We'll make our way now to a standing position, finding a wall, or in my case, a quilt rack that you have access to. So here I'm going to stand with a little bit of space between me and the wall. I'll reach my arms up, palms facing the wall, and I'll slowly, very, very slowly drag my hands down the length of the wall. You might feel a shiver in your forearms here. If you're not, you might try moving even more slowly. Gently and slowly dragging the arms against the wall. Can play with the direction here as well. Can make a great big X, reaching over to one side and drawing my hands very slowly and diagonally across the wall. And then the other side, reaching up and dragging slowly to create an X on the wall. One last time, I'll drag down vertically. And then I'll stand with arms at my sides, pausing to feel the effects of the movement, enjoying what's left of that tingling sensation in my forearms. Make my way back to my comfortable seat. And this next movement is part of Tai Chi more than it's part of yoga, but it's a beautiful practice both for the elbows themselves, and for improving our mindfulness. So we'll begin in what in yoga class we would call goddess pose. Our elbows are bent. We're noticing that the elbow and the shoulder are at the same height. That bicep is parallel to the earth. Doing what you can, being mindful of your own body and your limitations. Palms face forward. And we're going to begin with the gentler version of this. So this is similar to the rotation that we did for our wrists before. We'll exhale, sending our fingertips together and then down. Notice how the back of my hand is facing you now. On the inhale, we come all the way wide. The arms form a perfect letter T and then rotate. So now the palms are facing up. So that's our whole rotation. We'll do a couple more of those. Exhale down. Inhale up. And we'll rest our arms down, heavy, noticing already if there's some fatigue in the arms or the elbows. We'll send the hands up once more, again returning to goddess pose. And here we'll move in the opposite direction. So this time we'll exhale down and wide, and we'll inhale up and together. And we'll rest down with our exhale. Again, closing our eyes, noticing the effects of that movement in the elbows. Next up, it gets a little more mindful. It's a moving meditation. It might take you more than one try to get the hang of it. So you can begin repeating the way we did it previously, or you can have fun with this shift. So here I'm going to begin in goddess pose, and then I'll send one arm down. So my hands are going to move opposite one another rather than in sync. So watch. We'll inhale, and the hands come together on the inhale. So that's our whole inhale, and now the exhale is the opposite side. They keep moving. Exhale, opposite direction. So I'm going to show that to you nice and fast. Inhale together and shift. Exhale, wide and shift. Inhale together, shift. Exhale, wide and shift. We'll rest our arms down. Just that practice can be fatiguing. And then we'll do 2 rounds together with our breath. Connecting to the present moment, noticing the effects in the arms, the elbows, and the wrists. We'll make our way now to goddess arms, and we'll lower the left arm down. We'll exhale, sending the hands together and then opposite. And we'll inhale wide and opposite, continuing with your breath. rest down. Forgiving ourselves if our breath got out of sync. Paying more attention to keeping the hands in sync with each other. We'll make our way once more into goddess arms. This is our last time with this movement. This time we'll lower our right arm and we'll begin. Exhale on one side and inhale on the other side. And we'll make our way resting down. Feeling the warmth, the heat, the energy. Opening our eyes, we'll gently shake out our arms. So letting them move loosely, being careful that we don't hit our hands against our chair, but creating some natural, effortless shaking and movement in the arms. And rest. This next rotation that we have for our wrist is really powerful. It's one that I learned relatively recently. So we're going to begin working with our right wrist. I'm going to lift my knee up so that I can rest that right wrist on my knee. And now, with some gentle pressure here, if this seated pose doesn't work, you can also make a fist with your left hand. You could even rest a ball, like a tennis ball or a ball of yarn, underneath your forearm. But what we're doing is we're looking for a little bit of pressure to be applied underneath our forearm here. And now we're going to take a counterclockwise rotation for the hand. We don't need to match with our breath here. We want to just gently move. And as those tendons move in our arm, that gentle pressure of the hand is going to create a massage. It's a really unique way to massage a body part. It's beautiful just to see the muscles in the forearm move too. And now the opposite direction, we're going to move clockwise, massaging our forearms here. And I'll rest all the way down, pausing to notice the effects in the forearm. And now we'll move to the other side. I can lift up my opposite knee, rest my left forearm against the knee. And again, I'll begin with counterclockwise rotations, just allowing my body to move at its natural speed. Noticing if there's any difference in the angle, noticing if maybe a different object underneath the hand creates a better feeling from the massage. You can rest your arm as heavy or as lightly as you want. And the other direction, moving now in a clockwise rotation. And we'll rest down. I learned that movement recently in a Marma Point workshop that I took online from my teacher, Indu Aurora. Such a powerful movement. If we notice as we rest our arms, we might still feel the activity in the right forearm, even though it's been a little while since we did that movement. And now we'll perform a gentler rotation. This is a form of Abhyanga, or Ayurvedic self-massage that we can practice. So here, working with our wrist, we'll begin with our fingers very lightly. We're not pressing hard here at all, not on our wrist. We want to very lightly and gently create a counterclockwise rotation, always counterclockwise first. Just gently moving and rotating counterclockwise. A very gentle stroke, as soft as we would be if we were creating this rotation on our cheek. And now clockwise, continuing gently. This practice is also beautifully done with warm oil, if you have something like warm olive oil or sesame oil. And now we'll do that same rotation for the elbow, allowing that elbow to rest straight, counterclockwise first, sending the energy of the moon and the feminine, allowing to remove any stagnancy, tightness, habits from the elbow. And then very lightly, gently, and softly moving clockwise. The energy of the sun, a masculine energy, one that activates, awakens, and infuses prana or energy into the elbow. We'll rest our hand down, again pausing to feel the difference, noticing the effects both in the fingers of the left hand as well as in the wrist and the elbow of the right arm. Continue massaging this right arm, this time massaging the back of the wrist, continuing to begin in a counterclockwise rotation. The light, gentle stroke here. And now clockwise. If you can reach effectively, we'll make our way to the back of the elbow. Counterclockwise at first. Your elbow can be slightly soft or bent if that's easier, feels better. You want to listen to your body, find your way of doing this movement that feels good. And now clockwise rotations. And again, we'll rest, pausing to feel the effects, knowing what happens in our body when we create that movement from the Abhyanga self-massage. Now for the forearm, we're going to create a massage in an infinity symbol. So here I'm going to create a figure eight, moving up and down across the length of the arm. Whether you think of it as a figure eight or an infinity symbol, whatever allows you to more easily create that smooth, gentle movement. Now we'll do the same thing on the inside of the forearm, creating that figure eight or infinity symbol. Oh, that's a little confusing if I try to show you rather than doing it. And we'll rest down, pausing to feel the difference between the right side and the left side. We're going to recreate all of these movements now for the left arm. So if you wear a watch, you can gently remove that so you can access your wrist. And we'll begin, counterclockwise. These movements are so beautiful. We can go at our own speed here with the left arm. So I'm shifting over to clockwise. These are a beautiful set of movements that can be done for the entire body. You could spend 3 hours just doing this one form of Abhyanga self-massage. Counterclockwise first, clockwise second, infinity symbols where the limbs are long, across your entire body for each joint on the fingers, for the toes, for the hip bones, the shoulders. Using that warm oil, like I mentioned, can be wonderful. You wouldn't want to use coconut oil. That can be a cooling oil, and you don't want to create any coldness in the joints. It's just a beautiful, rhythmic, patterned movement for the body. And we'll rest. Noticing the effects of the massage both on our mind, on our fingers, and on the wrists, the forearms, and the elbows. We'll send palm to palm at our hearts. We'll return to our minds the intentions that we set at the beginning of our practice, acknowledging the moments when we remembered them and when we forgot them, and perhaps setting a new intention, perhaps a new movement that we want to incorporate into our daily practice. We can picture that movement in our mind's eye now. Picture the moment when we'll want to practice it, and what it will feel like to pause, incorporate that movement into our routine. And now the light, the good, and the best in me honors and bows to the light, the good, and the best in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much.